Intersection of secant tangents level 1. In this problem, we want to find what the length of uv is. I will use the variable x to determine that length. So the length of the exterior secant segment of 20 times the whole length is equal to 17 times its whole length. So 20 times x, 20 times 20, and then 17 times 17 plus 22. Then subtract 400 from both sides, and then divide by 20. That gives us 13.15. And then check to what you have to round to, and it says to the nearest tenth. So I check this 5, looking at the 1. So x has to be equal to 13.2. Intersection of secant tangent level 1. In this problem, we're trying to find the length of LM. I will use the variable x to determine the value of LM. So the outside squared is equal to 4 times the whole length, which is 12. 4 times 12 is 48. Then we take the square root, and we find that it's about 6.92820.323. So x will be equal to 6.9 rounded to the nearest tenth. So LM is 6.9. Intersection of secants tangents level 1. We're looking for the length of FG. So again, we use the formula of the outside segment times a whole secant segment is equal to the tangent segment times itself. So we square 27 and then distribute the 18. So 729 is equal to 324 plus 18x. So we will subtract 324 and then divide by 18. We are going to round to the nearest tenth, and it already is rounded to the nearest tenth, which is 22.5. Intersection of secants and tangents level 2. First, I will label all parts. Now that I have all parts labeled, I'm looking for the value of ST. I will use the variable x. I can take 56 minus 22 to give me the segment length of UV. It would be 34. We also need to know the whole length of U to S. That is x plus 35. Now we set up the equation. So we have 35, the outside piece, times the whole length is equal to 34 times the whole length. So use distributive property, 35 times x, 35 times 35, then multiply 34 times 56. First, I will subtract 1,225 from both sides. Then I will divide both sides by 35, so x will equal 19.4. And since we're rounding to the nearest tenth, 19.4 is our final answer. Intersection of secants tangents level 2. First, label all parts. BC is 13, DC is 12, AB is going to be 3 less than the length of ED. If ED is some length x, then AB is going to be 3 less than that length. Then we set up the equation. Once we set it up, we would simplify. Next, I will invoke the distributive property. So 13 times x, 13 times 10, 12 times x, 12 times 12. I will subtract 130 from both sides of the equation. Then I will subtract 12x from both sides. So x is equal to 14. Rounding to the nearest tenth, well, 14 is it. So your answer, x is equal to 14. Intersection of secants, tangents, level 2. I will first label all parts. ML is 9. MK is 18. Find the length of JK, and I'm not. So I will use the variable x. Remember that the tangent segment squared is equal to the outside piece, which I can find by taking 18 and subtracting 9 from it, which will give us the length from L to K. The length from L to K is also 9. So now we know the outside piece is 9, and the whole thing is 18. So now take x squared is equal to 162. Take the square root of x squared, take the square root of 162, and the square root is 12.72792206, etc. We have to round to the nearest tenth, so I am going to look at the 10th place, look at the number before. Since it's less than 5, we have x is equal to 12.7. And that's our answer.